And it shouldn't. It shouldn't. But there are other problems with that bill, and there are other things the federal government is looking at doing, and labor laws on taking over our ability to govern ourselves and our environment, soon to be regulating our exhaling. And one thing after another. And I ask you to consider for a moment what James Madison would think about any one of these proposals. He would tear it down after he grew up. And we need, as citizens of Virginia, to protect that legacy and to win it back. An awful lot of folks, I see some veterans hats here, and thank you all for your service. A lot of folks have put an awful lot on the line and sacrificed a lot, sacrificed their lives, their families have sacrificed to pass along the gifts that the founders passed to us. And I appreciate you all taking a whole day, coming down here to Richmond, letting your elected officials know where you stand and to remind them of the Constitution that they swore an oath to. They swore an oath to. And the importance of it today as much as in 1776, 1787, and in 3010, if we're still here. And a lot of what we do, one generation after another, will determine if we are. America isn't a people, a tribe, a clan. We are bound together by a commitment to core principles. And it's appropriate, it's Martin Luther King Day. He called our national creed, that one sentence in the Declaration of Independence that you all know. It was a great name for it. It's a great title for it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by who? Not a government, not men, by their Creator, with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our national creed. I want to thank you all for taking the time and effort to come here to defend that posterity and to do it peacefully within our political system. But I want to ask you something else. When you go home, you're not done. You're not done. If you don't take this home with you, it isn't going to mean a lot, and it isn't going to accomplish much. And the place we win back our Constitution, and make no mistake, we need to win it back. We're not just defending it, we've got to take it back. It's in the elections in the Commonwealth of Virginia and across America. And you need to be involved. You need to be engaged in your communities, in your districts, whatever they may be. And you need to make your voice heard. And don't think that one person doesn't count. As a guy who won his last Senate race in a recount, I promise you, they do. We've got about 20 times the margin of my Senate race right here. And one person can organize enough and get a message out enough to change Virginia. And every single one of you can do that. And you must do that. You must commit to doing that and to pray for the strength to get through the process, to push forward, to achieve the goals that were set out for this country by our founding fathers, looking to heaven for guidance over 200 years ago. God bless every one of you. Thank you for being here.
We need a couple people to volunteer to relieve our flag holders. Could 2 people come up here and relieve them their arms and get tired? Thank you. Our next speaker is David Allen Carmichael, founder of Freedom Ministries and host of Hampton Roads Faith and Freedom Radio Talk Show.
Thank you.
Wow. Hey, I'm not going to shoot from the hip like on radio. I've got a deadline. The founders viewed the government that they framed not as something that we served, but instead something that served us as a minister of God for our good. They believed that mankind had a fallen nature. Those elected to office would tend to yield to the temptation to serve themselves rather than those for whom they had been appointed as a trustee, according to the Virginia Constitution. The architects of Virginia United States government set up independent branches and separate powers because they believed self-serving acts of public servants were inevitable. They set up a balance of powers to keep government actors on track. In the words of James Madison, ambitions competing against ambitions. The Virginia Constitution provides that the legislative, executive, and judicial departments of the Commonwealth should be separate and distinct. It's ambitions competing against ambitions. The U.S. Constitution provides that. I think you guys could sing along with me. Don't need to follow the ball. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. This is easy. It is critically necessary right now for the people in this Commonwealth to weigh in, these people in Commonwealth to weigh in against the ambitions of the United States Congress that is progressively becoming more corrupt. You've got to compete with your ambition, folks. Let us now remember the purpose of government. I think you can sing along with me as well. The governments of Virginia and the United States were instituted by the consent of the people to protect
The people.
liberty and the pursuit of happiness. One more time with feelings. To protect life,
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Congratulations. Through slow encroachments, we have wrongly tolerated government changing into a minister of mammon that gratifies our covetousness and pacifies our fears. It's time to correct ourselves by correcting the functions and operations of our servant, not savior, government. We must save ourselves from the consequence of our languishing in stupor. We've been mesmerized by in-flight entertainment while our plane has been in a nosedive. Arise, people of Virginia, arise! Protect your neighbor and your posterity from the frenzied, ambitious flood of destructive, I got big words here, frenzied, ambitious flood of destructive Marxist, utopian, totalitarianistic, statism, that's what we're dealing with, that is rising upon your land. The privileges and immunities reserved to you will be swept away if you do not apply the necessary energy to preserve them. Do not let yourself, your neighbor, or your legislator around this land of the free to perish for a lack of knowledge. Go to work. Our next speaker is Josh Ebach, Virginia Director of Freedom Works.